It's time to talk Aggie football with the interim head coach of the Aggies, Nate Dreiling, on your exclusive home of Aggie football, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nate Dreiling's weekly appearance brought to you by Macy's Happy Shopping. Coach, good morning.
Morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So we have talked about the issues with the defense over the last few weeks, and I thought it was pretty telling. 4th and 1, you could have punted and given the defense a whole field to work with, but decided, I guess, the way things were going with the Lobo offense, that going for it and picking up that yard was your best bet?
No, I mean, more so our offense was doing a good job and kind of clicking. So we know if we would have got that first down, the ball game would have been over. So we'll always play aggressive, and was just ended up a little bit short though.
When someone's in the position of having to build a team, is it more important to have the defense? Because it looks like for you guys, the offense certainly is just running on all cylinders, putting up. Some of your guys have just incredible numbers, but the results as far as winning the games aren't there. So do you believe, and I know you want balance, but if you had to devote more scholarships, would it be on the defensive side?
I think, yeah, defense and a tough quarterback. If you have those two things, you're going to be hard to beat. So, but it is what it is. When you get the job in July, you don't make those decisions. You just work with what you got, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you do with the defense this week? How do you try to tighten things up even a little bit as you prep for Wyoming?
Well, we're getting closer. You know, I mean, it looks like they scored 50 points. We muffed the punt on the 8-yard line where they scored, and then we let them score the touchdown at the end when we didn't get the 4th and 1, so our offense would get the ball back instead of a easy field goal to win it. So we held them in the 30s for 89 plays. So we just got to be able to be a little bit more efficient. Our red zone defense, we got to be able to force kicks better. Right now, we're just giving too much touchdowns right there. So if we can force kicks and keep our offense going and protecting the ball, then we'll have a chance, just like last game, to win it late.
Just how good is your offense? Because it seems to be, as I said earlier, clicking around just about every which way you need to click.
Yeah, Spencer's doing a good job of distributing the ball, and with Jalen Rose and Razul, it's just it's a hard to stop for a lot of teams. So they're doing a good job, and hopefully we can keep that up the second half.
What is the message to the team after a game, and in a situation where you've had to deliver similar messages? How do you keep them up and keep talking to them and keep them believing that next week can be different?
Yeah, it's just what mindset do you want? Winners continue to work, our perseverance, fights through, and don't quit, and losers point blame and look for the easy way out. So it's just what do they want to wake up and what do they want to be that day. So I know the people I have in this locker room, I'm very excited about what we're going to do this week. Now we've got to go out and get better and continue to prove it.
How much have you been hearing from NFL scouts by some of your guys like a Royals?
Yeah, I think Jalen's kind of projected right in that second to third round pick, and Razul's working his way up to a mid to late round draft pick, and Brock Lane is kind of in that same situation. So when you got 3 offensive players that are probably going to get drafted, you're going to be pretty good, as well as a quarterback who's playing pretty well right now. So hats off to those guys for getting developed here and working their butts off. So hopefully put another 6 games on tape and help their draft stock.
When scouts are coming around to see those 3 guys, they might discover somebody else. Are they talking about any other guys on the roster?
You know, Wyatt Bowles, our offensive lineman, is playing very well, and he keeps getting brought up more and more. And then we probably have the best long snapper in the country, and Jacob Garcia, who's going to find his way on a team or in a camp at least as well. So a bunch of guys, especially on the offense. So that's, it's easy to be good when you got good players. So now we just got to make sure we keep getting them the ball when we need to.
When coaches are in the season, recruiting is important. How are you balancing both?
That's a good question. You know, every home game we have 4 or 5 official visits. We're up to, I think, 7 or 8 commits right now. So it's just working the fine line and making sure, one, you have a good recruiting department who can handle a lot of the logistics stuff when players are on campus during games. But then, two, you have to make sure that when you're driving home at night, you better be calling recruits and families and let them know the priority here.
Do you have to have a little deeper list now, given the way the transfer portal works and stuff can open up pretty quickly, or do you figure on if you lose a guy with a transfer, you fill him with a transfer so the team doesn't get too young. So you do have a number of scholarships you're working with for high school recruits, and that doesn't move too much.
Yeah, that's a good question. You definitely go +1, potentially +2 in every position, meaning that, hey, I'm only going to have one guy graduate, but I'm going to recruit 2 guys just because you don't know. And then at the end, you'll have to figure it out because it is such a crapshoot on what it looks like every single year. So you are recruiting a lot more players than I guess in years past before the portal.
College football, obviously, it's becoming more and more professional like the NFL just about every day, every week, every season, and all that stuff. And so with that in mind, as we progress, we're past the halfway point. Pretty much everybody is. We're getting into November, and it's basically winding down. So you see this where there's times that coaches are replaced during the season. I don't know if you've been involved in that throughout the time you've been as a coach, but how hard is it on players when that happens?
I think the one thing for players is that if they trust you and they appreciate you and they respect you, they're going to work their butts off for you. If not, you're going to see a totally different team. So right now, our players have obviously been through a lot. We know we're not winning games, but I think if you watch tape and watch the games, you see that these kids are playing extremely tough and extremely physical. Now we just got to equate that to win. So hats off for their resilience and hanging in there. It hasn't been the season we wanted, but they are such a fun bunch and working their tails off to make this Aggie community proud.
Coach, we appreciate a few minutes. Good luck in Wyoming.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Nate Dreiling, Utah State interim football coach, joining us here on The Zone.